over 50 years of excellence from the Black Karate Federation as well. We are celebrating. We'll start with Sijo Mohammed. How did the BKF come about, my friend?
Well, I was taking the martial science with Chuck Sullivan, which is one of my teachers. And these three guys came in, black guys, and I was the only black guy in IKKA at the time. But these three black guys came in, and Chuck came back to the back where I was getting ready to change clothes. Said, "There's some black guys out there. They want to see you." So I go out there, and they told me that they were there because they wanted to form a federation because they've heard about how blacks are getting cheated when they're
Right.
fighting.
Right.
So I went out to talk with them, and they said, we'll have a meeting because we see if we can form some type of unity to be able to, when they cheat us, we would have someone with a voice that could speak for us.
Yes.
So I went out and spoke with him, and I would say after speaking with him for about 3 months or 4 months, we decided that we would form that federation. And within that federation was Bishop William. Help me out, Bishop.
Ron Chappelle, Ron Chappelle, Smith, Jerry Smith,
Cliff Stewart,
and myself and Muhammad.
right.
Wow. Wow. And it did it kind of kick off a little bit too with your match with Joe Louis at first? Because I was reading up that's, when you faced off with Joe Louis, the audience, they saw that you won. And even Joe Louis admitted that you won, you beat him, but yet they still gave it to him. And that was one of the factors that went into creating BKF, correct?
No, that was later.
That was later.
When we formed the BKF, I think I was still fighting because they didn't have international grand champion at that time.
Gotcha.
Until later on when I was fighting. But I did fight him after once where they allowed the lightweights to fight the heavyweights. And at that time, I did beat him. And they did cheat me, but they were cheating me long before that.
Gotcha. It started early.
Yes.
Copy that. Yeah, it started early. But yeah, you also faced off, excuse me, you faced off a couple times against Chuck Norris, I see. How was it fighting Chuck?
Like fighting a silverback gorilla.
Copy that.
When I fought Chuck, I was still new
right.
as a black belt, and I had not gone up against anyone that can put that kind of pressure on you when you fight. We were all kind of equal, but he was ahead of me as far as fighting, and also ahead of me as far as being in the martial science longer than I had. And it was something to fight someone that could put that kind of pressure. And from that, I always had respect for him. And he was always, even when I was being cheated, he was one of the person that was yelling, "Give that man his point. Give him his point." He kept yelling that the whole time. This is before the BKF was actually formed.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. We got Chad over here. They're loving what they're seeing right now. Best panel of the year, easy. Look at that. They are enjoying themselves. Thank you so much, T-Virus. And yeah, thanks again for everybody watching. They are enjoying themselves. But we got a little shot of the school right there. There it is.
Yes.
There it is.
Such memories back in the day when we was training, that picture you just showed. But I was around when Muhammad was fighting too. And let me tell you something. Chuck Norris is an awesome fighter, but Muhammad is really, really good. I want you to know that. Chuck is good, but Muhammad is good. I was there with Joe Louis when they fought for the car and that Lincoln. And so, I mean, I was around all this time. So I know that he had to speak for a group of people that had no voice. And that's why he was elected as the head, the president, the man in charge, and founder, because he spoke out for a lot of people who didn't have karate schools, but they trained in their backyard. They trained with their neighbors, and so they wanted to compete, but you had to be in an organization to compete, either Kempo, Taekwondo, Hapkido, just all, you had to be in an organization. So Muhammad began to speak for them, including myself. So I thank God for him on that.
Right. And plus it was important for you all to form the BKF, because again, they had the Japanese had their organization, Chinese had their own organization. So we needed something to represent,
Yes. And let me make a comment on that too.
Sure.
You see, when the BKF started, everybody thought we was a militant group. They didn't see us as a organization. They connected us with the Black Panthers. They connected us with all the gangs. And remember, Muhammad was a cop, and so I was in security at that time, but he was a cop. They saw us as gangsters. They didn't see us as an organization. You could have the Japanese Karate Association, but you couldn't have the Black Karate Federation. That's a militant group. So God opened that door for us to represent ourselves in a manner that we was respected and loved by all of the organization.
There you go. Copy that. That's right. And it's very important. And I was reading up a little bit on, other well-known martial arts champions, such as, Joe Louis, Cecil People, Benny Urquidez. They would train with you, at your organization to prepare for upcoming tournaments. I mean, how cool and awesome is that? That means you guys are legit. That means you guys are past legit, which is awesome.
Yes.
But were there any other influential martial art legends that trained at your school?
Many actors. Muhammad might be able to help on that because they was there for him, and I just held on to his coattail, but we had a lot of. Joe Louis came down to the school.
Right.
He didn't come to train under us or nothing. He would come down and train with us.
Right.
Quite a few of the named martial artists, they all come by and be a part of what we were doing. So, but the names, Muhammad can basically tell you more than I can.
Right. Joe, Muhammad, do you remember any other big influential names in the martial arts that came to train with you guys? Like Joe Louis, Benny Urquidez. Was anyone else? Any other names you remember coming down to train with you?
I can't pull up names at the moment, but there were other people that came down.
I'm just gonna say everybody. Yeah. Because even I'm having trouble trying to memorize certain people, but yes, we've had plenty of them. If you put a hit out on the internet now, ask, is there anyone out there who trained with us that wasn't a part of the BKF? I guarantee you get a lot of names.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But that's just that. They come train with you. Your organization. That's that's huge respect. That means you guys are legit, and you guys have earned it. That's right. Did you both ever predict that the BKF would also spawn leaders in the fields of law enforcement, medicine, motion pictures, and sports? Did you when you first started and formed the organization, did you ever expect it to explode and create so many leaders and champions? Did you see that coming?
No, I would say that we didn't. I did not see it coming. I only thought that when we started the BKF, that only young people, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old, were coming at that time. So we were getting prepared to actually train small children, and we did that for a while until adults start. Once the adults start coming, then things started to change where we had a federation that was growing in such a way where we now had adults there to be able to help us and to assist us in training. But I found that it was one of the most enjoyable times I had in my life was training children, and how much children actually fall in love with you and how much you actually fall in love with the children. There were children in my school. One of them one day called me. He says, "Can I call you Papa?" And I said, "Well, you have to ask your mom if you can do that." You know, he went and asked her, and she came back and she said, "My son asked me if he could call you Papa because he had no father." And many of them had no fathers. It was just the mother. And
Right.
so, yes. And
Wow.
I remember coming into the school, and some of the parents had talked to their children. And when I came into the door, they didn't call me Steve like they usually. They just yelled out, "Papa!" You know. I said,
Oh,
I'm in trouble because you fall in love with the children.
yeah.
And I had a whole group of them there. And Bishop William can attest, he sent a group of them over to my school too. Sammy Pates, and I think it was Pee Wee and J Lo. How many did you send over there, Bishop?
Yeah, I think it was about like 12, altogether about 12 guys. And they called him Papa and called me Mr. Williams.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's wonderful.
Also share, not only did we have name entertainers, stars, and comedians and actors that was part of the BKF, we also, the BKF, remember, I don't know if you know this, but championships, we have 4 world champions in the BKF.
Man.
And I think we won. How many times did our team win the team competition at internationals?
Up until about, you said team competition or just,
Yes, sir.
I think the team that we were on,
Yes, sir.
I think we held it for about 8 years, 8 to 9 years. We
Yes,
held
sir.
national champion teams.
And see, and the big thing is, even though we had a lot of champions in our organization, and we had a team, people like Chuck, Mr. Parker, Santa, quite a few. Byung Yu, believe it or not, Byung Yu was my teacher for a year prior to coming to Muhammad. But these individuals that was a part of our world helped us to become what we are today.
Yes.
And I want to really give a shout out to people, because I remember we went to San Francisco and I didn't have a place to stay. And Chuck Norris allowed me to sleep in his room because I didn't have a place to stay for the next day for the tournament. And so, it's a lot committed to us in the art by people who have helped us, and they were not a part of us. And so, yes, to answer your question direct, we have had quite a bit of champions. I had no idea Steve Muhammad would be even recognized by a Bruce Lee. I had no idea when we did Enter the Dragon that scene would catapult us to the position that we're in today.
Yes.
I've been blessed, and so to answer your question directly, no, I had no idea that we would be where we're at today.
Copy that. Copy that. But it's a good thing,
Yes, sir.
And again, like, shout out to everyone that worked with you and helped everyone grow together.
Yes, sir.
I like to highlight 3 of your students here. Hold on one second. We're giving out it's the episode of the shout outs. We're going to give some more shout outs here. But yeah, here's some more of your students here. You had Cynthia Prouder.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was involved with $1 Million Baby. And everybody knows this man right here, the great Scott, Carl Scott.
That's little Steve Muhammad right there.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Kung Fu Executioner, Sun Dragon. Everybody knows this man. And of course, a comedian and actor. He was in the Mac. What's happening now? Rest in power, Stu Gilliam. Yes. And Sijo Mohammed. Stu was your oldest member that became a black belt, correct?
That's right. And even he called me Papa. He was old.
Oh man, that's great. But how cool is that? See, you guys, sometimes I'm just like, man, you know, samurai guy. I need to, man, am I too old to go back to my martial arts training? Sometimes I think about that, and then I see stuff like this. And you're never too old, everybody watching right now. You're never too old to get back into it and train and learn and grow as a martial artist and as a human being, becoming a better human being, which is what the BKF is all about, becoming your better selves.